The temporary calm was fragile. Outside the reinforced observation windows of the Xiphora, the cosmic storm still raged, swirling with immense energy that threatened to tear the ship apart. The alien crew moved cautiously, following the instructions of Captain Elias Kane, who had become a steady presence in their midst. Despite the danger, there was a sense of determination that had not existed before. Elias stood in the engineering bay, overseeing the repair work. Zorak and the other engineers worked under his guidance, learning to reroute circuits, stabilize energy flows, and reinforce the ship's hull using improvised methods. For aliens who relied on advanced, delicate systems, human improvisation seemed chaotic at first, yet it worked. Every adjustment made the Xiphora a little stronger, a little more resilient. "You humans are strange," Zorak admitted, carefully following Elias's instructions. "Your methods are simple yet effective." "I do not understand how you think," Elias grinned. "We rely on creativity and adaptability. Sometimes the most complicated problems have simple solutions if you keep trying." Meanwhile, Vera worked to stabilize the communication systems. With Elias's assistance, she managed to amplify their distress signal and encode it in a way that could survive the storm's interference. Though no response had come yet, she felt hope. For the first time, they were not alone. Thalri walked among his crew, observing their renewed energy. He could see their fear being replaced by cautious optimism. "This human, he is not only brave," Thalri said quietly. "He teaches us to adapt, to fight with what we have, not what we wish we had." Elias glanced up from the core stabilization unit. "We can't let the storm catch us off guard. We need to test the engines and prepare for movement. If we wait too long, even the temporary orbit will not protect us." Zorak nodded, and the engineers began activating the auxiliary engines. Sparks flew as the systems were pushed to their limits, but under Elias's guidance they held steady. Hours passed, and the storm grew closer, its energy surging like a living thing. The aliens watched from the observation deck, anxiety etched on their faces. Thalri approached Elias. "Are we ready?" he asked. Elias examined the instruments carefully. "We are ready, but the next phase is dangerous. We must synchronize our movements perfectly, or the storm will tear us apart." The Xiphora and the Odyssey aligned, engines humming in precise coordination. Elias gave the command, and both ships moved together into the heart of the storm. Outside, plasma arcs danced violently, lighting up the void in jagged flashes. Gravity waves surged, pulling at the hulls with immense force. The crew held on, their bodies pressed against railings as the ship shuddered. Elias guided them through the turbulence with calm determination, relying on intuition as much as on calculations. "Adjust the stabilizers. Increase thrust! Hold your position," he called out. Zorak worked alongside him, following instructions exactly, his alien mind struggling to adapt to human improvisation. The crew began to see a pattern in Elias's methods. He anticipated the chaos, reacted quickly, and never panicked. Slowly, the storm's violent grip began to loosen as the ships maneuvered through the worst of it. At one point, a surge of energy struck the Xiphora's power core. Alarms blared and sparks shot across the deck. The crew froze in panic. "Core is failing," Vera shouted. Elias did not hesitate. "I'll handle it." "Cover me!" He sprinted to the damaged core, dodging arcs of electricity. With careful hands, he manually reconnected circuits, rerouted energy flows, and stabilized the failing core. The ship groaned, shuddered, and then settled. Life support indicators returned to normal. The alien crew stared at him in awe. Thalri's eyes widened. No being should survive this, yet he does, and he saves us all. The storm continued, but with Elias's guidance, the ships pressed on, gradually emerging from the most dangerous zone. The energy waves diminished, gravity fields stabilized, and the void returned to its eerie calm. For the first time in cycles, the alien crew felt safe. They docked briefly near a small uninhabited planet to make repairs and rest. The Xiphora's hull was scarred, and the engine strained, but the ship was alive. Elias worked tirelessly alongside them, teaching, guiding, and sometimes simply observing. During a rare pause, Vera approached Elias. "Why do you help us?" she asked softly. "Humans rarely respond to alien distress. Many civilizations ignored our call." Elias wiped sweat from his brow. "Because it is the right thing to do. Because I can. Because hope matters. Sometimes all it takes is one person willing to act." Thalri overheard and nodded silently. He had never seen a species so determined, so selfless, and so resourceful. The aliens had relied on advanced technology, treaties, and powerful fleets. Yet they were saved by one human who refused to abandon them. Over the next cycles, the alien crew worked closely with Elias. They shared stories of their worlds, of scientific discoveries, of cultures that spanned light years. In turn, Elias spoke of Earth, of human creativity, of the ways his people solved problems with ingenuity rather than sheer power. Small moments of humor arose as they adapted to each other's ways. Vera laughed at Elias's insistence on using simple tools in complex situations. Zorak marveled at human improvisation. Taliri admitted privately that humans had an energy and courage that no alien intellect could replicate. Yet they knew danger was still near. The cosmic storm's remnants churned in the distance, threatening to disrupt their fragile orbit. They had stabilized the ship, but the universe offered no guarantees. Elias gathered the crew in the command deck. "We have done well, but the storm is not over. We must leave orbit and set course for a safe region. We will travel together, combining your knowledge and my methods. We can do this, but it will require trust, focus, and cooperation." Taliri looked around at his crew, who nodded in silent agreement. They trusted Elias now, not only as a captain but as a symbol of what humans could achieve. The engines fired, and the Xiphora and the Odyssey moved in synchronized harmony. Outside, the storm's energy waves still flashed, but with every careful maneuver they grew weaker. The ships pressed forward, pushing through danger with courage, intelligence, and persistence. At one point, a massive energy arc struck the Xiphora. Panels exploded and systems flickered. The crew froze, but Elias remained calm. "Reroute auxiliary power to the shields." "Hold steady," he shouted. Together, human and alien crews followed his guidance, stabilizing the vessel just in time. Finally, after countless cycles of tension, the ships emerged into a calm sector of space far from the storm's grasp. The stars stretched in peaceful silence, the void now a canvas of hope rather than despair. The alien crew gathered in the observation deck, staring at Elias. Taliri's voice was quiet, but full of admiration. "You have done what none of our civilizations could. You have saved us not with force or fleets, but with courage, intellect, and will. Humans are remarkable." Elias smiled, tired but satisfied. "We all have a choice. Sometimes the right choice is the hardest, but it can make all the difference. You survived because you did not give up, and I was there to help." Vera added, "You have shown us that hope is more than a word. It is an action, a human action." As the alien crew continued to repair the Xiphora, they realized they had learned more than survival. They had learned respect for a species they had only imagined. They had learned that humans, despite their limitations, could accomplish extraordinary feats when they combined courage, creativity, and compassion. Elias prepared to depart in the Odyssey, leaving the aliens with tools, knowledge, and guidance to navigate the rest of their journey. Taliri stepped forward. "Captain Kane, you will always be remembered among our people. Not as a visitor, but as a savior, a teacher, and a friend." Elias nodded, humbled. "Thank you, Taliri. But remember, your survival was also your own. You adapted, you fought, and you did not give up. That is what made this possible." The human ship detached, gliding through the void as the alien crew watched. A new understanding had formed between species. Stories would be told, lessons shared, and the memory of human courage would travel across galaxies. For Elias, it was another mission completed, another chance to prove that humanity, even in the vast indifferent universe, could shine brightly. One human had made a difference not through overwhelming power, but through ingenuity, compassion, and the refusal to abandon those in need. And as the Odyssey disappeared into the distant stars, the alien crew of the Xiphora knew that they would forever carry the legacy of that human, a reminder that hope, courage, and ingenuity could survive anywhere, even in the darkest corners of space. The void was vast, the universe immense, but one truth remained clear. Humanity had left its mark, and through one human's actions, countless lives had been saved. The galaxy was watching, and the story of courage would echo for cycles to come. The deep void of space stretched endlessly, dotted with distant stars that seemed like pinpricks of hope in a sea of darkness. The alien vessel Xiphora drifted silently, its sleek metal hull scratched and scarred from a recent meteor storm. Inside, the crew moved with quiet urgency, aware that time was slipping away. The ship's core systems were failing. Life support flickered intermittently. Communication arrays were damaged beyond immediate repair. Panic simmered beneath their calm exterior, but no one dared to show it. Captain Thalry, a tall, lithe alien with translucent skin that glowed faintly in the dim light, stood at the command deck. His multifaceted eyes scanned the holographic displays, trying to calculate a course that could lead them to safety. He had been trained for crises like this, but nothing could prepare a leader for being stranded in the emptiness of uncharted space. "Energy reserves are at 15%, said Vera, the ship's communications officer, her voice trembling slightly. "We cannot sustain life support for more than 3 cycles. "Send the distress signal again," Thalry ordered. "We cannot afford silence." Vera hesitated, then nodded. The ship's console hummed as she activated the remaining functional transmitter. The distress signal was weak, fragmented, and encoded in multiple alien dialects, hoping that anyone might receive it. They had sent it before countless times, but the void had been empty. No response. "Perhaps it is time to prepare for evacuation," said Zorak, the engineering officer, his voice low and grave.
"Even if we abandon ship, survival is unlikely." Thalry shook his head.
"We will not give up yet. There is always a way." Far away aboard the human exploration vessel Odyssey, Captain Elias Kane sat in the pilot's chair scanning the systems. The ship was modest compared to the enormous interstellar cruisers of the alien civilizations he sometimes monitored. But Elias had always preferred efficiency and simplicity over bulk. He noticed a faint anomaly on the sensors, a weak, irregular signal. His brow furrowed as he adjusted the receiver. The signal was garbled, but it carried a complex pattern, almost like it was layered with multiple messages at once. Most humans would have dismissed it as interference. But Elias had a knack for curiosity, a trait that had saved him more than once. He leaned forward. "This is not random. Someone or something is sending this intentionally." He activated the decryption program, letting the ship's AI attempt to analyze the patterns. Slowly, a message began to emerge filled with alien syntax and strange symbols. Elias studied it, recognizing repeated phrases that suggested distress. "They need help," he muttered almost to himself, "and no one else is answering." Back on the Zephora, the crew felt the first glimmer of hope. The signal had not been ignored. They saw the faint indication that someone had acknowledged their call. Thalry exhaled, a gesture humans would call relief. "Finally, someone hears us." Minutes later, the alien crew watched anxiously as a small human vessel approached. Elias maneuvered carefully, aware that the Zephora was fragile. He did not know what kind of beings he was about to meet, but he understood one thing clearly. They were in trouble, and he could not leave them. The docking sequence began, tense and delicate. The human ship was smaller but maneuverable, and Elias guided it with steady hands. The two ships aligned perfectly despite the trembling hum of the alien vessel. When the docking clamps engaged, both crews held their collective breath. The airlock hissed open, and Elias stepped inside the alien ship. His presence caused a ripple of whispers among the crew. Humans were rare, almost mythical in their encounters with other civilizations. To see one in person in the heart of their crisis was disorienting. "I am Captain Elias Kane," he said, speaking slowly to ensure clarity. "I received your signal. I can help." Thalry stepped forward, his voice calm but tinged with skepticism. "We have been abandoned by many. How do we know you are not like the others?" Elias smiled faintly. "You have no reason to trust me yet, but I promise you I will not leave until you are safe," Vera whispered to Thalry. "He seems genuine, and he is already here." Thalry considered it and finally nodded. "Very well. We will cooperate, but time is short." Elias moved to the engineering bay, surveying the damage. He noted the scorched conduits, fractured energy cells, and failing stabilization systems. He understood enough of alien technology to improvise solutions using his human tools. Humans were often underestimated for their simplicity, but their ingenuity in unexpected situations was remarkable. "Your main energy core is unstable," Elias said. "If we can bypass the secondary circuits and stabilize it manually, we might have a chance." Zorak blinked at him. "Bypass manually?" "Yes," Elias said firmly. "It is risky, but it can work. I need your cooperation." Reluctantly, Zorak nodded, and together human and alien began to work. Elias instructed them to reroute power from non-essential systems. He improvised a makeshift stabilizer using components from both ships. Vera monitored communications while Thalry coordinated the crew. Hours passed. Sparks flew. Alarms blared intermittently. The tension in the Zephora was palpable. Yet through the chaos, Elias remained calm, methodical and unwavering. Slowly, the energy core's instability decreased. Life support systems regained function. Light steadied. The Zephora was not yet safe, but it had a chance. During a brief pause, Thalry observed the human closely. Elias was not the largest, strongest, or most advanced being he had ever seen, but he exuded something rare, courage combined with clarity of thought. "Your kind," Thalry said quietly, "has a strange strength. Not in power, but in persistence. In hope." Elias glanced at him, wiping sweat from his brow. "Humans survive by adapting, and we do not give up easily." Vera, listening, smiled faintly. "Perhaps we underestimated humans." Just as they were beginning to stabilize the ship, the sensors screamed a warning. The gravitational pull of a nearby anomaly, the remnant of a collapsed star, was growing stronger, tugging at the Zephora. The ship shuddered violently. "We are being drawn in," Vera shouted. "We cannot resist this pull." Elias quickly assessed the situation. "If we stay here, both ships will be destroyed. We have to move now." Thalry looked around at his crew. Some were terrified. Others were resigned. He saw the determination in Elias's eyes and felt a strange sense of reassurance. "What do you suggest?" he asked. "I can dock with you and use my engines to tow the ship," Elias said. "It will be dangerous, but it is the only way." Zorak swallowed. "And if you fail?" Elias did not hesitate. "Then we both fail. But I will try. I will not leave you." Trust, fragile and tentative, was given. The crew braced as Elias activated the thrusters of the Odyssey, the human ship straining against the immense gravitational forces. The Zephora groaned and trembled, its ancient systems fighting to survive. The anomaly loomed closer, a swirling mass of energy and destruction. Minutes stretched like hours. Every adjustment, every calculation mattered. The alien crew watched in awe as Elias coordinated maneuvers, combining intuition and technical skill in a way no machine could match. Sparks flew from damaged conduits. Lights flickered. Yet the human did not falter. Finally, with a tremendous effort, the combined ships managed to break free from the worst of the gravitational pull. Both vessels drifted into a temporary stable orbit near a nearby uninhabited planet. The storm of energy still raged around them, but they were alive. Thalry exhaled, a deep sigh that conveyed relief and disbelief. "You saved us. We should have known. We should have trusted humans sooner." Elias allowed himself a small smile. "We do what we can. We never know when we might make a difference. That's all any of us can do." The crew began repairs, working alongside Elias, learning from his methods and marveling at his quick thinking. For the first time in cycles, there was laughter, quiet but genuine, a sign of hope in the darkness of space. As the night deepened over the alien vessel, Thalry stood at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. One human had arrived when all others ignored them. One human had reminded them that even in the vast, indifferent universe, hope could be found. And as Elias worked tirelessly among the alien crew, a bond began to form, one that would forever change the way they viewed humanity. Yet the danger was far from over. Beyond the temporary calm, the cosmic storm churned with unseen fury, and the next challenge would demand even greater courage. But for now, against impossible odds, humans had proven that ingenuity, courage, and compassion could shine brighter than any star.